Hi there. Um, I just made a gig in the smallest place with a new friend I have. So I'm trying to get into my musical career again, and it has been, getting into the musical career again has made me think a little bit about what it is really to be a musician. So I just wanted to share some thoughts with you guys here. Any musicians that might, click in on this and, perhaps reflect a bit with me. That's how it goes. You know, before the 70s, music was basically just entertainment, right? You could, Elvis Presley and all these good musicians were just there to make you feel good and have a nice time, stuff like that. Still, music is like that in many ways. But after that, in the 60s, in the end of the 60s and in the 70s, it kind of changed because at that time, music got political. You had bands that played mostly socialist things, and that was, in a sense, Beatles. For instance, was the biggest socialist band that was at that time, and I'd say that in a sense it was both good and bad because the good thing about it was of course that it gave music a new angle and a new dimension of what it is to be musicians. The bad thing about it was that often these bands were they were corrupted and they were influenced by what was called the KGB, the Soviet secret intelligence agency. So even though that it seemed very beautiful and imagine this, imagine that, it also had a kind of a very dark side. They were basically manipulated, and through these KGB agents. The whole culture of the West was manipulated. All the young persons who were, going there to Woodstock festivals and having a nice time, they were basically being manipulated by the KGB. And if you don't believe me, you can go here to Denmark. We've just had a huge case with a guy called Jacob Holt, who was also, he's still living, and he was very big in the 70s, and he openly admitted that he was KGB agents. So it wasn't, it's not just a myth, it's true, right? The extent of it I don't know anything about, but to be worried about, you shouldn't just say, all music is just beautiful and whatever, You can, as a musician, be manipulated by people who have, another agenda than just, being political. Because the thing about the KGB is that KGB is, they were truly evil, right? I mean, according to the Russians, the KGB was just, definition of evil. And these were the guys that stood behind a lot of the musicians in the 70s. So what I'm saying is that, you can be a musician, but you should also be a little skeptical about things going on. If people want to, tell you to go this and that direction, you should be skeptical. You shouldn't just take it all and say, well, okay, now we have a new revolution and imagine this and that. You should be skeptical about what their true motives really are. We have the same here in the West. A lot of the young Muslim musicians. I don't have anything about all Islam. I think there are beautiful things in Islam, but there are some of the people that's behind some of the bands, at least here in Denmark, who are Islamists, who are influenced by the Muslim Brotherhood, who are not the best. I mean, Muslim Brotherhood are kind of the one who defined and kind of invented Islamism. The political version of Islam that has been murdering people all around the globe. So it still goes on, this infiltration stuff. So what do you do as a musician? I think it's about really digging into some of the values and the virtues that was also there in the '68, among other things. John Lennon, he had long hair and glasses, right? And he spoke about peace and love and light. I think these values are some of his own, right? I think that's basically truly the good thing about the political version of a musician, is that if you really fight for peace, if you really try to change the world into something better, you can do that, right? There's a peace core and peace in this and peace in that. And musicians there, they can do everything, but they can sometimes. Sorry about that. It's my camera. Sorry. But if you look at these ideas behind the peace development, you have to look somewhere else. There was another trend, political, philosophical, metaphysical trend in the 70s, and they were, I've been doing a lot of research on this, and I realized that it comes from now. Okay, you may think it's a little strange, but it's really true. It comes from a Jewish, not religious but spiritual environment called Kabbalists. Also Madonna, she's a Kabbalah disciple, or not believer. And these Kabbalists, these Jewish people have been here. They've been here. We've been here for thousands and thousands of years, and we've always fought for peace and for making the world more loving and caring. And they were also there in the 60s. There's this beautiful Rav Ashlag, he writes this beautiful book about peace and how all the monotheistic religions will unite, and this will be the core of the Messiah. And I think these ideals of peace and love and spirituality and believing in a higher being that will actually bring something to mankind that will truly elevate them to a higher place. These are good, right? These are not like things that has been manipulated into the musical environment. These are true, ethical, and good ideas. So if you want to go with the peace ideology, do. I mean, these are deep spiritual ideas that I think musicians can just latch onto. James Taylor, Madonna, a lot of these really good musicians that kind of change the world to something better. You have the Peace International today still going on, and it goes into the deep spiritual traditions of Judaism, but it's not about kosher and not eating this and eating that. It's about being a good person, right? It's about accepting the guy beside you. It's about forgiveness. It's about truly opening people's mind and eyes for the fact that we are not egoistic beings, but that there can be solidarity between us. And this message is still out there. It's not manipulated. It's not about it's not about us being the agents of KGB or some other dark, terrible organization. It's about doing a difference, and it's good, right? It's truly good. And if you really want to get that message out there, go with peace, right? Go with the principle that there is more than just you and me. There's also something up there. I know this was the Isis finger. I didn't mean it to be the Isis finger. I mean it to be the spiritual light that comes to us as people and as human beings. And what we can do is that we can try to inspire people to get out of their materialistic hells of this and that, and actually be what they're supposed to be, spiritual beings, right? God is in every one of us. It's in me, it's in you, it's in the tree, it's in the ants, it's everywhere. But we always drag down onto on this materialistic place and people they are fighting. You know, being in the materialistic world is difficult. Sometimes you have to fight. Sometimes the bad guy's there, and you have to, get out your gun and shoot him down, because otherwise he will shoot you down. The Torah says this. But you should always strive for peace. You should always try to make people open their eyes for the fact that they're a spiritual being, that they are good, and there is goodness in everyone. And that should be the central message of anybody who wants to be a musician, I think. So this is my thoughts on it. Be skeptical. Don't just take any bullshit that you hear. Don't be this and that. Go with peace, right? And that will always bring you onto a better course. And I'm a Kabbalah, I'm a Kabbalah person, like Madonna, like some other musicians. I do it because it's beautiful, right? Because the people I meet in this environment, they're the good guys, right? They're never judgmental, or they're humble. And I think that's a good thing. Right. That was the message of today. Peace.